Hey, how you doing? I'm back again. It's TI Survival, and going to be talking about diet again. Because as you know, I've been researching diet, been playing around with my own diet, just trying to make the TI experience a bit more bearable, a bit more survivable, And I've discovered oats. It's a really great food for TIs. I'm not going to do many of these TI superfood films because I don't think there is many of them. But oats is definitely one of them, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So I've been researching what's happening to TIs, how we dying if we are, and it does seem to be like pretty horrendous. The two things that seem to stand out is suicide and cancer, but also heart failure. Suicide, these kind of things can be controlled because obviously the TI experience just like really brings you down, can make you feel suicidal. But what I'm thinking is, if you're already a little bit depressed and then you've got like the TI experience on top of that, that could easily push you into feeling suicidal. But obviously you're not helping yourself if your baseline is already one of depression. And you can control depression with diet, because a lot of evidence is showing that depression is actually caused by brain being unhealthy. It's lacking vitamins, and this causes it your mood to go down, depression to come in, and I suspect it's a kind of survival response. It's just your body's way and your brain's way of saying things ain't right. Cancer, like I say, obviously there's not a lot of official stuff out there, but the stuff that is out there, just a lot of people seem to be either killing themselves or dying of cancer. And cancer is another thing that you can deal with your diet. There's two sides of looking at cancer. There's the Rockefeller-sponsored chemotherapy and drugs route, and there's also the alternative therapy route, which is more about diet, and natural healing, which is what we're going to be looking at, And heart failure is something that I brought up because I've been reading a lot about World War II and the Jews. For obvious reasons, there's this obvious link between what's happening, not just to us, but today generally in the West, with Nazi Germany in World War II, And there's these similarities, And it just appears that the deep state government have kind of got this Nazi agenda, and it's kind of like a fascist government. Top two ways that Jews used to die in World War II were suicide and heart failure. So very similar to what's happening to us today. Okay, so how can oats help us? Well, let's have a look at what's in oats. Okay, loads of magnesium. Okay, magnesium is good for high blood pressure. Okay, and obviously if you're under a lot of stress from being a TI, your blood pressure is going to be up, So anything that's going to stabilise your blood pressure, bring your blood pressure down, is going to be good for you. It's going to prolong your life, make it much more difficult for the TI experience to kill you, because I think that's what they're trying to do, really. Really good for hypertension and anxiety. Okay, so it's another thing that obviously like TIs are going to be under. Heart muscles, pretty obvious really. I mean, if the harassment is raising your blood pressure, making your heart beat faster, it's all bad for your cardiovascular system and your heart. So you need to pay particular attention to your heart. And very good for the nervous system. So being harassed, keeps you in the stress, the fight or flight response, which is very much controlled by your nervous system. By looking after your nervous system, you're going to be sort of helping yourself, because I think the TI's nervous system is under a lot of strain. So oats full of magnesium, really, really good. Selenium. Selenium's an anti-inflammatory, okay? And you might be thinking, what's that got to do with being a TI? And it's the fact that recent studies have shown that brain inflammation is partly the cause of depression. And you might have experienced it yourself, when you get injured, even when the pain is gone, you feel sorry for yourself afterwards. And scientists are saying that's not just because you're feeling low because of your injury, it's also caused by inflammation in the brain, And a lot of foods that make you feel good are anti-inflammatories, and they're saying that's one of the reasons why some foods make you feel good, is they bring down the inflammation in your brain. So any anti-inflammatory is good for TIs, to try and like lift the mood as much as we can. Antioxidants are really great for fighting cancer. A lot of studies are showing, there's people out there who are curing themselves of cancer with diet and exercise, and one of the reasons is antioxidants. They're your body's natural kind of drug, that's going to be like curing yourself, fighting off any disease, any free radicals that are flying around your body, which basically can cause cancer and other diseases as well. Okay, selenium also good for your immune function for obvious reasons. If you're under a lot of stress, you're susceptible to any disease really. It just really opens you up to any kind of bad disease in your body. Okay, manganese. Oats are ridiculously full of manganese. It's something like 80 grams of manganese. It gives you something like 190% of your RDI of manganese. So it's really ridiculous, and it's a great thing because I'm going to talk about blood sugar stability. Looking after your blood sugar stability if you're a TI is a big deal, because there's a lot of evidence to show that people who are suffering from depression and anxiety and mood swings and mental health problems suffer from blood sugar instability. And a lot of people, they're making themselves better by stabilising their blood sugar. And not only that, when you get harassed, it unstabilises your blood sugar because it causes this whole domino effect in your body of causing stress, lowering your pH, causing blood sugar spikes. There's all these things in your body that are linked together and really unhealthy for you, because obviously your blood pressure's going up. That's causing strain on your cardiovascular system. It's causing strain on your heart. Blood sugar, and I think, especially when you get harassed, one of the physical systems that's being manipulated is your blood sugar. So anything that's going to stabilise it is good, not only for your brain and your mood and depression, but also for your heart and cardiovascular system. So oats being full of manganese, just really good for that. It's an antioxidant as well. Again, good for fighting off cancer, any kind of heart disease, any kind of disease really. Obviously, if you're living in a polluted environment as well, these antioxidants, they clean out, the pollution out of your body. So really important these days. And especially if you're under a lot of stress as well, nutrients get used up more if you're under more stress. It's kind of like the fuel of stress are vitamins and minerals. So the more stress you're under, the more vitamins and minerals you need. Antioxidants is one of them. Good for your brain function. Obviously, like I've said before, anything that's supporting brain function and brain health is going to lift your mood, reduce depression as much as possible. Healthy DNA. I mean, in this modern world, whether you're a TI or not, look after your DNA, because all these electromagnetic waves are surrounded by, microwave food and 5G, 4G, 3G, Wi-Fi. Okay, all this stuff, all this electronic equipment we're surrounding ourselves with, it affects your DNA. And if you're a TI who's being harassed with microwave weapons, that's affecting your DNA as well. Look after your DNA, and manganese will help you do that. Beta-glucan is a special kind of fibre that you really exclusively find in oats. And again, it's another thing that will stabilise your blood sugar. So really important, to keep your blood sugar level. Also, beta-glucan keeps you full, because it's part of the reason why it's a high fibre food. Food with a lot of fibre keeps you full for a long time, so you'd be less likely to snack. And also, your blood sugar is related to snacking and drinking coffee as well, because if you're in the vicious cycle of drinking caffeinated drinks, causing a blood sugar spike to keep yourself awake, that goes down, then you feel sleepy, so you have another cup of coffee. It's a vicious cycle that you get into that, if anyone out there knows, I do, because I've given up caffeine. I don't need it anymore. but I used to need it. I used to get up in the morning and, I used to live on it at work. I'd just be drinking a cup of tea every hour, and if I didn't, I'd be getting tired, even feeling sleepy at my workstation. So oats really is sort of like quite a big deal in stopping yourself from snacking, stopping yourself from drinking coffee, keeping yourself full. It lowers bad cholesterol, and that's going to be really good for your cardiovascular system, for your heart. Not all cholesterol is bad, but some of it is bad, and beta-glucan will lower the bad cholesterol in your blood. Okay, tons of other vitamins and minerals, all really good. Iron and copper. Okay, vitamin B1 and B5. Let's talk about the B vitamins for a bit, because B vitamins really good for your brain. So any B vitamin is going to be good for protecting against depression and lifting your mood. It's something to remember. And there's another thing worth considering is the whole B vitamin structure is a little bit mad, not very well thought out. Because you see vitamin B12, you'd assume, if you weren't knowledgeable about this, that there was 12 B vitamins, but there's not. There's 8, and one of them hasn't even got a B number. Okay, there's B1, B2, B3, B5, B6 and B7. There's B12 and there's folic acid. And they're all the B vitamins, okay? If you see any of those vitamins, really good for you, especially vitamin B6. It can be used as a mood lifting vitamin. Phosphorus, really good for maintaining your pH. Obviously, I've said in previous videos, if you've got an acidic pH, it's a breeding ground for cancer. I mean, you're asking for cancer if you've got a very low pH. If you've got a high pH, it's healthier and it's fighting off diseases like cancer. Protein, good for a couple of reasons. There's quite a lot of protein in oats. Okay, it's worth having a look at. Obviously, if you're a guy, you want to keep the muscle on. There's a useful amount of protein in oats. But the other thing is, when you look at protein, you're also looking at amino acids. And amino acids really good for the brain. Let's talk about zinc for a bit. Okay. People are often deficient in zinc. That's worth considering. And it's got a role in defending against cancer. Okay. It supports your immune system. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's good for DNA repair, and also stress depletes zinc. Okay, so having a bit of extra zinc in your diet will be really good for all TIs. Load of other good reasons to get oats in your diet, and one of the top ones has got to be that it's cheap. A lot of TIs been harassed out of their jobs. Okay, we haven't got any money. I get my organic oats from between £2 and £2.50 for a kilogram, and a decent sized bowl of porridge is about 50 grams. So if you get it for £2, that's 10 pence for a serving of oats. You ain't gonna get no cheaper than that, and that's the main ingredient in your breakfast. So a really good thing to do. And if you're not getting anything organic in your diet, it's a great place to start, because, I mean, if you're eating like sugary cereals instead, this is going to be cheaper, okay, and better for you, and you're going to be able to go organic. I'm going to talk about organic for a bit, because obviously, really easy to get hold of organic oats, but the whole organic versus inorganic argument, it's kind of a bit blurred, because if you're eating food that's not organic, it's a false economy. Let's take, for example, an organic apple. Okay, I'm going to run through some figures that I got out of the book. Okay, an organic apple will have 63% more calcium, 78% more chromium, 73% more iron, 118% more magnesium, 178% more molybdenum, 91% more phosphorus, 125% more potassium, and 60% more zinc. And I ask you, what is the point of buying an inorganic apple? Let's say a bag of organic apples is £2.50 and inorganic is £2. you're not saving any money because you're not getting the amount of nutrients that the price difference suggests. You know, you're actually getting like, I mean, if organic stuff was twice as much, that would actually be fair. You know, because you're getting so much more nutrients. But it's not just that. You know, if you're a TI and you're buying inorganic, you're actually supporting the deep state government that are supporting your harassment. Because what's happening is organic farmers aren't getting any subsidies. Inorganic farmers are getting subsidised by the taxpayers' money, and what the inorganic farmers are doing is introducing dangerous chemicals into the human food chain. So the deep state government are taking our money and rewarding inorganic farmers to shorten our life. It doesn't make no sense, and the only way to stop them from doing that, okay, is to stop buying inorganic food. Unless you're going to get yourself elected and try and stop them, but you wouldn't stop them from doing that anyway, because anyone who knows, there's no power in political positions nowadays. You know, there's people behind the scenes who've got everything locked down. You know, okay, and not only that, you're actually like, if you're like buying inorganic food that's been sprayed with chemicals, you're killing wildlife because you're paying those farmers to spray their chemicals on their farms. You know, there's 50% more wildlife on an organic farm, so it don't make no sense. And the whole subsidies to the farmers is exactly the same as the pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical industry just makes billions and billions and billions of dollars and pounds. They make more money than anyone, yet they're subsidised. I ask you, why do you think that is? You know, there's no reason. They don't need them. I'll tell you why it is, because they're being rewarded for killing people. They're being rewarded for introducing chemicals into people's lives which are going to kill them. I don't need to like emphasise this, because there's loads of evidence out there, you know, that these drugs are not good for people. They're versatile, very, very versatile. Loads of different things you can do with them. Okay, you can eat them raw or cooked. And several ways you can cook oats. You can cook them in a slow cooker. You can cook them on the hob. You can cook them in a pressure cooker. It takes 5 minutes to make oats in a pressure cooker. And you can cook them in the microwave if you really, really have to. But I say don't cook anything in the microwave. They ain't safe. The whole reason we have microwaves in the modern world is because we live in a fascist state. Industry runs this world. Okay, if they want to put the technology out there, they will. There's no one can stop them really, because they are the government. You know, it's the same reason that they're managing to roll out 5G without any trouble at all. The same reason that cell phone companies put their cell phone towers near schools and near where people live, and then people end up getting leukemia and cancer who live there. Nothing will happen to these cell phone companies because they are the government. Oats, one of the most nutrient-dense foods you can buy. And with all this in mind, you'd have thought they'd have been more expensive than other foods, but they're not. They're cheaper. You know, and it's one of the advantages of the mad world that we live in that, like, if something's really dangerous and is really going to shorten your life, it costs a lot of money. You know, a can of Coke is not cheap. You know, and it's one of the things that I'm sure they have a right laugh about behind the curtain, is that, you know, they charge people a fortune to kill themselves. If you want to live longer, it's actually cheaper. So, what kind of things can you do with oats? You can make oat milk, really easy to do. You stick some oats and water in a food blender, and that's it. Maybe add some maca powder. If you haven't tried maca powder, it's just magic. I call it God powder myself. Full of vitamin B6. Really good brain vitamin. Again, tastes really sweet, you know, so it's like a really good replacement for sugar. And I found this a lot, you know. There's a lot of stuff out there that's actually like really, really healthy and will sweeten your food as well. So, you know, if you're looking at getting yourself more healthy and getting away from sugar, doesn't mean you have to like say goodbye to sweet foods. It's just not true. You know, you just need to like experiment a bit and find some different stuff. And I'm going to talk a minute about how I make porridge oats really sweet without any sugar. Soaked oats, really popular in America. You get some oats, mix them with some water, you leave them in the fridge overnight, and they're ready to go in the morning. More convenient than Cocoa Pops, quite a considerable bit more healthy. Porridge oats, I'm going to talk about porridge oats for a bit, because when I sort of like moved over to oats, I realised how healthy they were. I thought, I want my cake and eat it, because oats don't taste that good without a decent helping of sugar and a bit of milk in there. Or so I've sort of found, really, with being a Westerner with a sweet tooth. So what I started doing was experimenting a bit. One of the things that I do is put a bit of coconut oil in there. Okay, coconut oil, really healthy, really sweet and nice tasting, and it's full of monosaturated fat, which protects your heart. So it's one of them things that you can use to sweeten up food, and also it's a healthy thing as well. Coconut oil is great. It's the only safe oil to use for frying or sautéing as well. Really awesome, and starts melting at very low temperature as well. Another thing I do is I put about 5 grams of maca powder in. Okay, really great tasting stuff. Maca powder is really healthy and really sweet as well. Okay, but better than sugar, I think. Tablespoon of mixed nuts and seeds for omega-6 and more vitamins. A bit of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Cinnamon's surprising because it's another one of them things that you think cinnamon can't be healthy, it tastes too nice, but it's really healthy, it's really good for you. Okay, it's an antioxidant, can protect you against heart disease, an anti-inflammatory. Again, it's a feel-good spice. Studies have been shown that just smelling cinnamon can make you feel happy and cause changes in the brain. It's just another one of them spices that will sweeten up your food. Last but not least, one of the best things I do is I take an apple or a pear, chop it up into I section it up into little pieces, and that sweetens it up as well, and it's a natural sugar, it's a good sugar. Apples are awesome as well, for a lot of reasons. An apple is another thing that will help regulate your blood sugar, reduce bad cholesterol. It's got loads of B vitamins in it. Okay, it's got folic acid, B1, B2, B3 and B6. These are all really good for depression and mood. Vitamin C, obviously an antioxidant, and vitamin E is also an antioxidant. You can't go wrong with an apple, There's a lot of these sayings that we sort of laugh at, like an apple a day, keep the doctor away. There's a lot of truth in that. I used to know, I used to turn up, go to work every day and eat an apple, and it used to make me happy. I'd be talking to my work colleagues about apples in the morning, and it would have been the B vitamins in there, and the sweetness, the good taste of it. You don't realise that this stuff is like drugs. So oats in smoothies, really good, especially if you got a smoothie that really healthy but doesn't taste very good. Try sticking some oats in there. Take the edge off really sharp tastes. I do a smoothie with broccoli in it, and of course broccoli is ridiculously healthy, but I can't stand the taste of it. The only reason that I can eat broccoli is because I put it in a smoothie, and because I hide the taste with other flavours. And that's how I get away with it. And one of the ways that I do that is with oats. Okay, really good change to make if you're not already doing it. But I say just be careful of buying oats that are too processed. Like if you're buying porridge and it's very finely ground, a lot of processing will take out, a lot of the vitamins and minerals. The best oats to eat are rolled oats. And as large as possible. The least amount of processing, the better. So I'm going to leave it there. Okay. See ya. And I hope everyone has a good 2019.